So today, we have the Vastatosaurus Rex, the V-Rex, taking on the Distortus Rex, or the D-Rex. Who wins? Well, let's find out. So, firstly, we have to talk about size. And the V-Rex are massive, dude. They were the big bad apex predators of Skull Island. When fully grown, they stood roughly 20 to 23 feet tall, 50 feet long, and weighed an astonishingly heavy at 15 to 20 tons. That is very big. But the Distortus Rex is definitely the largest carnivorous land dinosaur ever seen in the Jurassic World / Park franchise. Standing at 26 feet tall, about 47-48 feet long, and while official sites say it only weighed 10 tons, I disagree with that. I think it's impossible. The Spinosaurus / Asset 87 also weighs about that much, despite being 6 feet less in height. I think realistically, this thing weighs 13 to 15 tons at the minimum. I think it's possible it can even weigh more than that. But the franchise is known for getting its sizes proportionally wrong. Moving on to physicality. The Distortus Rex is insanely strong. I mean, it casually held a helicopter up with just one hand and then yeeted it dozens of meters away with that one hand. Just yeeted it, okay? That is a multi-ton feat. It also stopped. It actually crushed the chopper with its jaws, too. Metal and all. And then it stopped the speeding Jeep cold with one hand, with like a brick wall. It could also overpower most other dinosaurs it confronted on the island. And while we didn't see this happen, I mean, just look at it. Look at its arms. It could overpower a T-Rex, a Spinosaurus. It doesn't matter. It would overpower it for sure. I don't care what that deleted scene says. It was deleted, so I can't use that. And it's also likely to have a very thick hide, similar to the other large dinosaurs in the franchise. We know the Indominus was bulletproof. Rexy was probably bulletproof, but at least bullet resistant. He's probably durable in the same sense. With a thick hide, he's probably at least bullet resistant, if not straight up bulletproof. And while he's very slow and lumbering with what he showed us, he does have 4 contacts with the ground with the 4 of his limbs, so that should help his mobility, although he seems to be like a lumbering giant. Anyways, moving on to the V-Rex. These guys were hella strong, as they were described as being what the T-Rex would have become if it had gotten to keep evolving for millions of years in an isolated environment. It was bigger and better than ever before. By itself, it could take down most prey, like the massive and highly aggressive Ferrocutus, a Ceratopian that weighed similarly to it, and packs of them could even take down Brontosaurs, the giant long necks that outweighed them massively. They could easily knock over large, thick trees, leap surprisingly far, and fight against King Kong himself. We actually know that they could also kill Kong species too. Their skulls and jaws were even larger and more robust than their ancestors, designed for crushing and shattering their prey, even more so than like that of the T-Rex. Their hide was incredibly thick and durable, like likely bulletproof, I mean. We saw them take repeated heavy attacks from King Kong, whether it was punches, kicks, being thrown, being rammed through trees and onto rocks, and etc., and just keep on fighting through it with no visible injuries. And they can traverse through their forested and mountainous terrain with surprising speed and mobility. Now, the D-Rex is an amalgamation of many dinosaurs and animals, making it a mutated dinosaur and not your typical hybrid like the Indominus or Indoraptor. We know a T-Rex was used as its base, but that's it. We know nothing else that makes up this monstrosity. I think it's likely that there's gorilla DNA and maybe xenomorph, and I've heard even potentially human DNA, but that's it, and I really don't know anything else. But by far its greatest advantage when hunting or fighting are his incredibly long front arms. These arms are essentially a cheat code. They give him a reach advantage, allow him to grab onto his prey or opponent, hit them with a lot of force, makes it a lot easier for him to knock over large opponents and pin them down, and they make it virtually impossible to knock him over because he has that great center of gravity. And those arms they're just great leverage over any opponent that doesn't have a similar build to him. And based on all the dinosaurs we saw on the island, there's no doubt in my mind that he is the apex predator. It doesn't matter if he is slow and lumbering. His size and his arms just make him the apex predator. But the V-Rexes, like I said earlier, were the apex predator of Skull Island, and were a big reason as to why the Kong species was essentially wiped out. They were bigger, better, smarter versions of the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Their heads could be used for ramming. They could bite with dozens of thousands of pounds of force. However, they were able to slowly wipe out the Kong species, not because they were the stronger opponent, but because of their pack hunting and the main fact that they grew and reproduced much faster than the Kongs did. As we saw in the movie, one V-Rex isn't a match for one Kong. Hell, we saw Kong take out 3 of them single-handedly. So one V-Rex doesn't stand a chance against one Kong. So how does it stand a chance against a similarly sized and structured animal like the Distortus Rex? Well, you have to remember, Kong had probably been fighting and killing V-Rexes his entire adult life, right? The Distortus Rex has never seen a V-Rex before, but it would recognize its very similar body structure to that of a T-Rex and know to avoid its mouth, right? I don't think it's stupid, right? At least not that stupid. It's still an animal with instincts and memory and whatnot. And I just think those long arms give it too much of an edge when fighting something that doesn't have long arms. I don't care how dangerous, I don't care how heavy they are, unless it's extreme amount heavier, thousands and thousands of pounds. Those arms give it a massive leverage advantage, and I have to side with the Distortus Rex on this one, winning the majority of the time. That bite of the V-Rex is nothing to scoff at. Its weight is nothing to scoff at. It could pick up the win sometimes, but more times than not, I'm siding with the Distortus Rex. Like and subscribe if you did enjoy. Leave a comment of what you thought, and hit the notification bell to be notified of all my future videos and all the great stuff. My social medias will be down in the description and all the great stuff. I hope you guys had a great day, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace!